Hi, this is Daryl Meyer from Keller, Texas. Today is Friday, October 22nd, 2010. I'd sure love to see those Texas Rangers finish out the New York Yankees tonight. Go Rangers. Don't want to see a Game 7. All right, let's get right to the news today. This first story out of JerusalemPost.com says U.S. and Israel and Iran have approached the end game. The end game sounds so final. U.S. policy of sanctions and engagement is hardening Iran's position, claims ex-Tehran University professor at Debate on Islamic Republic in Washington. A former University of Tehran professor warned that the U.S., Israel, and Iran have approached the end game, where very difficult choices will have to be made. Oh man, I'm going to butcher this guy's name probably. Farideh Farhi, speaking at an event organized by the U.S. Institute of Peace, also assessed that turning up pressure on Iran has had an effect, one of pushing Iran further away from the negotiating table. He said the combined U.S. policy of sanctions and offers of talks without preconditions is having an impact, just not the intended one, she said. Anyway, she went on to say that we're getting to a point to the end of the game, something drastic is about to happen. And I couldn't agree more. I believe something drastic is about to happen with this whole Israel, Iran, and the U.S. thing. This story out of Haaretz today, Netanyahu today says only when Palestinians recognize Israel as a Jewish state will they be ready for peace. Uh-oh, and I just lost that story. There it went. PM tells Jewish leaders that peace requires security and that Israel's security needs are growing more and more. So he reiterated today that only when the Palestinians recognize Israel as a Jewish state, saying that only then they will be ready to end the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Army radio reported today. So once more he's saying, hey, just recognize us as a Jewish state. You know, we recognize all the Muslim states. Why can't you recognize the one tiny little Jewish state in the Middle East? Doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult to me. This story also out of the Jerusalem Post. Perez says we cannot exist without the United States. The president says Israel can enable the U.S. to build an anti-Iran coalition by ending secondary conflict with Palestinians. President Shimon Peres said that Israel cannot survive without the help of the United States at a Jerusalem conference of the Jewish People Policy Planning Institute on Thursday. Jewish People Policy Planning Institute, that's almost a tongue twister. He said for his existence, or for our existence, we need the friendship of the United States of America. They need us. It's nice to know. It's nice to feel needed. Don't think we have the right president at current time for the sentiment to feel the same on the other side, but just thought that was important that he says, hey, we need the United States. And, you know, I mean, really, we're one of their very few allies. This story out of Archamax.com, and forgive me, I'm all over the board today, and I don't know why these stories keep jumping all over the place. I keep losing them. Anyway, let me see if I can pull that one back up. Sorry, guys. It's been a crazy day today. Okay, well, I don't know if that one just disappeared or if I will find it again later. Okay, anyway, here is a GOP candidate. This is out of the HuffingtonPost.com. GOP candidate Stephen Broden says violent revolution is on the table. Okay, here's how bad things are getting in our country. A Tea Party-backed congressional candidate in Texas is doing Sharon Angel's suggestive talk of Second Amendment remedies, one better. He says violent overthrow of the government is on the table. Wow. Violent overthrow of the government. Okay, it's been quite a while since the Civil War. What was that, like 1860? So 140 years ago, we had the Civil War, you know, North fighting South, the whole slave thing, all that fun stuff going on. Well, now here we are. This guy is saying our nation was founded on violence. Stephen Broden, a pastor running against Democratic Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson in Texas' 30th Congressional District, said in a recent interview with Dallas's WFAA-TV, the option is on the table. I don't think that we should ever remove anything from the table as it relates to our liberties and our freedoms. Though Broden did concede that this method is not the first option, These words are perhaps the sharpest from an establishment-backed GOP candidate and occasional Glenn Beck guest with a history of controversial statements. This segment on Brodin highlights statements that he made at the 9/12 rally last year, but is now walking away from. The administration is trying to figure out how to deal with the stress, and so they are doing end-of-life counseling in order to depopulate that particular group of people, Brodin said last June. But he recently told WFAA that his views had changed. He said, "I don't think they're trying to get senior citizens to die prematurely. I think they're entertaining end-of-life counseling based on economic viability." Okay, so he backpedaled a little bit. I haven't seen a politician yet that doesn't. He also likened the current state of affairs in America to those in Nazi Germany during the Holocaust. Let me tell you, that is something that happened in Germany when the Jews were walking into the furnaces and they didn't even try to stop or fight their way, Brodin said at the rally. They walked in because they did not believe that this was happening. They didn't believe that humanity could be so evil. I am submitting to you tonight that that is where America is right now. They are our enemies and we must resist them. When asked if he thought Obama was like Hitler, he decided differently. Anyway, he's saying, hey, we're at a point where we might have a revolution in this country. We're tired of the way things are going, and I couldn't agree more. Well, I am tired of the way things are going, but I'm not sure violence is the right method to get there. Then again, I'm not the majority. So, here's a story out of WorldNet Daily. Okay, again, President censors the Creator reference for the third time. A third time, okay, this is the third time the President has done this. Now, I can see one time forgetting. Okay, I can get past that. 2 times, it's kind of weird, but, try to do something. 3 times, no, I don't buy it. He's doing this on purpose. Now, it probably depends on your perspective, but the facts are that a statement published on the government's official White House website confirms that for the third time in a little over a month, President Obama has censored a reference in the Declaration of Independence to people being endowed by their Creator with rights. He just says that people are endowed with rights. Okay? Obama repeatedly has used the reference in his campaign efforts to boost Democrat interest in the 2010 midterm elections, at which most analysts are predicting a Republican landslide sweeping through Congress and state houses. Here's the actual quote from the Declaration of Independence. "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." 3 times now, President Obama has omitted the "by their Creator" phrase. 3 times. This president, who proclaims to be a Christian, but I know is actually a Muslim. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. I am not afraid to say it. He's a Muslim. Okay? He's not a Christian. Part of the Muslims thing is lie to those non-Muslims to advance your agenda, and that's exactly what he's doing. Amazing. And no one says anything. No one says, hey, Mr. President, you left out part of it. You want to go back? You want to try it again? Let me retype that in the teleprompter for you. No. Nobody says anything. Just drives me nuts, the godlessness we're experiencing in this world. Godlessness. Sorry to rant. I get a little passionate about some of the things I find that people are doing and saying these days. Here's another story out of CNSnews.com. CNSnews.com. White House says Obama will push a lame duck Congress to legalize homosexuality in the U.S. Armed Forces. Hey, hooray! I doubt they're going to go to any fun colors besides the camo, but, whatever. In the lame duck session of Congress, which follows the November 2nd elections to when the new Congress is sworn in on January 3rd, 2011, so they get a 2-month vacation, and we get to pay for it, President Barack Obama will push the Senate to pass a bill that includes an amendment to end the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy and allow homosexuality in the U.S. Armed Forces, according to White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs. Okay. Christian? Hardly. Muslim? Kind of wonder, because Muslims kill homosexuals. So, Antichrist? Very much so. I'm not claiming Obama's the Antichrist. I've seen all the videos claiming he is. They present a good case. I don't believe he is. However, time will tell. He could be, I tell you this, he could be very well a precursor to the Antichrist, just like John the Baptist was a great precursor to Jesus Christ. Okay? That's about as far as I'll go. I don't think Obama's the Antichrist, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Here's something just kind of made my heart proud. This out of yahoo.com. Vets stand guard over a Christian flag in North Carolina town. This out of King, North Carolina. I had something earlier this month about them. What were they doing? They were not wanting a Muslim mosque to be built. The Christian flag is everywhere in the small city of King, flying in front of barbecue joints and hair salons, stuck to the bumpers of trucks, hanging in windows, and emblazoned on T-shirts. The relatively obscure emblem has become omnipresent because of one place it can't appear, flying above a war memorial in a public park. The city council decided last month to remove the flag above the monument in Central Park after a resident complained, and after city leaders got letters from the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, from Satan, and America's United for the Separation of Church and State, urging them to remove it. Okay, so here's these vets. They are, since September 22nd, holding a vigil. They're getting home-cooked food delivered by supporters, sleeping bags, blankets, and they are doing 24 hours around-the-clock vigil to keep this flag flying. This man, Martini, what's his name? Ray Martini. He says, this monument stands as hallowed ground, commemorating the day in 1988 when he became a born-again Christian with a tattoo on his right arm. It kills me when I think people want to essentially desecrate this. You know, the ACLU is very anti-Christ. They're from the Satan himself. I'm sorry, they are, and I'll bring you more on them in another story. But oh, Lord, help me with the way things are in this world today. Let me go to Leviticus 4:4. Don't often bring you things from Leviticus, but here's something that says, he shall bring the bull to the door of the tabernacle of meeting before the Lord, lay his hand on the bull's head, and kill the bull before the Lord. Okay? Let's talk about sufficient substitutes. Now, I'm not talking about some people's theology of substituting today's church for the people of Israel, the chosen people. Okay, not that substitute. But there's a principle woven throughout the Old Testament that we need to understand before we can fully understand and appreciate the power of the cross. It's the principle of substitution. And it basically teaches that God accepts an innocent substitute to suffer in place of someone who is guilty. Okay? The whole sacrificial system that the Lord gave to the nation of Israel was based on this essential principle. Whenever an Israelite would sin, instead of personally putting them to death, there was an option of substituting an innocent animal in their place. The bull, goat, ram, lamb, or dove would be taken to the priest, who would kill and sacrifice it for the sake of the owner's sin. Now, it was a simple system based on a powerful principle. The innocent substituted for the guilty. Okay? But there was just one problem with this arrangement, and the writer of Hebrew identifies it for us. In Hebrews 10, verse 4, it says, "For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and goats could take away sins." Okay? Although the blood of animals was sinless, it wasn't fully sufficient because animals are inferior to man. God accepted it for a season, but every animal sacrifice was an incomplete story whose fulfillment could only be found in a substitute that was both sinless and superior to bulls and goats. That substitute was none other than God's only Son, Jesus Christ. He was the ultimate sacrifice, the perfect substitute to die in place of us for our sins. He was not only sinless, but he was very superior to man in every way. I urge you to get to know him. Jesus Christ is the only way to God the Father. Get on your knees, ask him into your heart, ask him to forgive you of your sins, and he will do it. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Go worship your Father. Go Rangers. Talk to you on Monday.